All right, so thank you for clicking on this video and seeing what I have so far. So if you've seen any of my previous videos, then you definitely know that I wait until I finish an entire sketchbook top to bottom, every single page covered, before I post it on YouTube, because I'm that much of a perfectionist. But I figured since it's almost the end of the year, aka the end of the decade, that I'd post what I have so far, meaning this is my 2019 sketchbook. I have had this for less than an entire year because I started the sketchbook back in May 4th, aka Star Wars Day. So since I started the sketchbook pretty recently, I didn't think that I would have anything to show you guys anytime soon, because the last videos that I've posted so far have been videos of my previous already completely finished sketchbooks. But I figured since I graduated pretty recently, I've had enough time to really focus on other things, and that includes my sketchbook, and that includes experimenting in my sketchbook. So I think I have a pretty good crop of stuff. I have, I think, more than half finished, and I figured I would be able to show you guys that because I think that's a great way to count the end of the year. Now, you'll notice that for most of my sketchbooks, I mostly just focus on portraiture or just simply people. But I realized that if I want to practice, I need to practice things that I'm not completely good at. So I'm going to try to experiment with cutouts, like you can see here, with lettering, because lettering is one of my weaknesses. I will grant you that. I will experiment with shapes and just cutting things out and adding things in, maybe collaging, because it's really fun to do that in my sketchbook, and I don't think that I let myself do that unless it's a page that I want to cover up. This time I'm doing it completely intentionally with the purpose of practicing something new and to finally use all those stickers that I've collected over the years, because what is the point of hoarding stickers if you're not going to use them? Another thing that I'm going to be trying to do more in this sketchbook, and obviously more in 2020, is that I'm going to be practicing my illustrations here instead of just using my second sketchbook, because I have an entirely different sketchbook dedicated to ideas. And I like to show people this sketchbook because I get the chance to perfect and to use more color in it, but why not do both? So that's something that I'm going to try to do more in the coming year. So this is an example of something that I decided to do for Mermaid, even if the Mermaid was a completely different product. This is how it started, and I like being able to show that because it helps me remember when did I make this and why, which is one of the great things about using the sketchbook like a journal this year. And I'm going to try to keep that going in the next coming years, or however long it takes me to finish this sketchbook. So I feel like I talk really fast, and I'm going to try to keep this voiceover as short as possible because that's one of the things that I've noticed in my other videos. And this one is much less work than I've done in the other videos, so we're going to try to keep it short. So as you can tell from this page, 1, Comic Books Day was upon us, and 2, Avengers Endgame was upon us. And I think the great reason that I started doing more chronological work in the sketchbook is because last year, the start of last year, for a sequential class assignment, we had to do a journal of sorts, and it was so fun to be able to put business cards and concert tickets and movie tickets in it, because then when I look back on it, 1, I can see how much I've grown art-wise and as a person, but 2, it helps me to keep those memories, and that's one of the things that I want to continue on doing in this sketchbook. I did stamps, in case you can't tell from that one, and I'm gonna start doing more draw these in your styles, because I think it's a nice way to draw and to draw mindlessly, because someone's already had the idea and it's just your turn to interpret it. So that was that. I'm also going to try to work more on painting in my sketchbook, more gouache techniques. This is another one of those draw this in your styles. I did draw that in that. I wrote it in that. I took the words out of magazines, and I think the stickers were from back in June when I went to Disney World. I think that's where the stickers are from. More collaging, another Draw This in Your Style. Hadestown is a musical that I think I am periodically obsessed with. Every other few months, I have to listen to the whole thing. So that was my lettering practice for the day. And we have entered September, or spooky season, if you will, from that. Because that is the Over the Garden Wall theme. I just recently discovered Christine McConnell, and I always loved Rachel Maxey. So I think this wasn't exactly on Halloween, if I remember correctly. So I did those for portrait practice in my best friend's college classroom, because I was allowed to sneak in while they were doing classes. So that was fun. Another little thing that I did that was really great, that I loved doing during Halloween, was that I participated in a Halloween zine that my friend Olivia organized. She was really great. A lot of great artists were in it. I will definitely drop that link below. We did another one for Christmas that'll come up soon. But also I did this It Chapter 2 Draw This in Your Style. That was really fun to do. I think it's one of my favorite Draw This in Your Style challenges. And I think I was a little obsessed with It Chapter 2, which will definitely come up again. So that hasn't changed. That's another really great thing about these sketchbooks, is that you can tell exactly what I was obsessed with at any given time. That woman in the portrait is also another Draw This in Your Style. But may I just point out this little photo I found of me that I glued onto this sketchbook because I thought it was too funny. That is me at a JCPenney photo shoot at 4 years old, and I do not look amused to be there. That hasn't changed, I think, really. I honestly think it's really fitting that the only time you guys have seen my face on this YouTube channel was little bitter 4-year-old me, because I'm not gonna lie, I honestly have not aged since I was like 12. So that's as close as you're gonna get, I think, until I post a video where I'm actually doing something. More portrait practice, and you'll excuse me if I had to cut out a little bit of audio there. A car very loudly passed by my house, and that's not really good for ASMR, I think. Another thing that I've taken to doing in the sketchbook, like I said before, was lettering. But before, when I did lettering, I did a lot of song lyrics or things from movies. And now I'm trying to focus on finding more poems or quotes or something. Not to be all like, ooh, fake deep kind of thing, but more or less to expand my horizons about literature. Because I think for years, my favorite kind of literature has been like classic literature or children's lit, so really narrative structure. And I don't think I've given poetry much of a chance outside of like the Odyssey or Alice in Wonderland, which I think is kind of a shame, because as I'm growing older, I'm learning to appreciate it more. So definitely going in the sketchbook for now. So like I mentioned previously, it is definitely December in the sketchbook, and I can tell you that because Olivia, the organizer of those zines I was talking about, sent me this in the mail. And that's how I know exactly where we're on the sketchbook. We're in December because the zine was due in November, and I'm doing little mental math right now. Now, I know it is a little, and if not a little, super jarring to see a character from a horror movie next to a Christmas zine page, but when I obsess over characters, I obsess deeply. So Eddie Kasprek, it is. That is nothing new for me. You can always tell what I'm obsessed with or what I recently watched by going through my sketchbook. And Eddie Kasprek is near and dear to my heart at this point, I think. So for this page, I definitely tried to work around with interactive pieces because I've been looking at a lot of greeting card companies and their products, and I really love how when you open a greeting card, it has little tabs or little secret things in it that you can open, and you can have fun with it. And I tried to do that in my sketchbook. It's like a secret in my sketchbook that I really like, because if you look at it, you're not really going to tell what it is unless I tell you about it. Or you're going to think it's a mistake unless you open it all the way through. And I don't know, it's just really fun for me. especially what I was able to do with the eyes, which you can see here. I made them move. I don't know, there was something really fun about that for me. I think I'm going to be able to do that in a next portrait if I think it's appropriate. The only reason I did it in this one was because I kind of messed up with one of my Copics and I dripped too much into one of the eye sockets. And instead of covering that up with my white gel pen like I usually do, I thought, why not just cut it out altogether? And that was really fun for me. The back page is also really fun for me because you can see the little, I guess, pulley system would be the best way for me to call it. In the back page, that's really fun for me to be able to do because it's so simple. It's literally just cardboard and tape, but it made an entire illustration move traditionally, and I'm definitely going to be doing that eventually. Don't know with what, but I will definitely do it eventually. Speaking of obsessions, the next page in my sketchbook, or as the next layout, the next double page spread in my sketchbook, is about Into the Spider-Verse, where I drew a portrait of Miles and a portrait of Gwen because I did a portrait of Miles in my last sketchbook, and it wasn't really my favorite because I did it before I saw the movie, before I saw all the complexities all the work they did into that animation, so I'm much more proud of this one. And definitely want to spruce it up a little, maybe do some more work for it, because I recently got the Into the Spider-Verse visual art book, and it is amazing. It is so complex, so much attention to detail. One of my favorite animated movies, I think, so far. I say that immediately with a page of Frozen 2, which I definitely think is better than the original one. So there's that. And on to portraiture. Like I said before, I always do portraits. Portraits is my thing, but I almost never do animal portraits, I guess because animal characters aren't usually my favorite, at least not to draw. But for 2020, one of my main goals is to open up portraiture commissions, or just commissions in general, but mostly I'll be focusing on portraits. So if you have a relative or a pet that you really want a drawing of, I am willing to do it, and I will post my information in the link below too. And now on to the final days of my 2019 sketchbook. I am now in Star Wars mode. So I don't know if I mentioned this before, but if I said I got new gel pens on Christmas, I was clearly insane because I got those on my birthday, but I've done so many of these voiceovers, I can't tell what I've said anymore. But ignoring that, I know it's now Christmas because this is a postcard that I got from my friend Olivia, the same woman that organized those zines. And next to it is Luke Skywalker, who, with his sister Leia, I draw like 57 times a year, in case no one could tell that I'm really into Star Wars. So if you're not really into Star Wars, I'm sorry, but the next few pages are going to be a little boring for you. Because I have thoughts and feelings about that latest movie. So if you have pros and cons, I want to hear them, because I really want somebody to talk to about it. Now, if you can't tell from that page bending a certain way, that page is now really thick because I have messed with the binding of the sketchbook so much that if it even survives 2020, it is going to be hot glued and Yoo-hoo glued all throughout the binding because I'm trying to keep it as stable as possible. Another wish for 2020 is that I learn to not be so extra with my sketchbook and to do as much as I want to do with it without killing it. That'd be right. But as you can see from these last few pages, it's mostly been me doing exercises and also obsessing about Star Wars. So the last 2 pages of my sketchbook for 2019 and my last page of the decade, really, are Finn and Poe, which I think says enough about me as a person. So that is the end of my 2019 sketchbook and the last sketchbook that I've worked on for the entire decade. This sketchbook I will continue on in 2020, but it's a nice feeling of knowing that I've been working on these sketchbooks since, I want to say, late middle school, early high school. So these sketchbooks have been with me for a really long time, the entire decade. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will hopefully have another video for you guys in the future that isn't sketchbook related. But until then, that is my video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Leave a comment if you like it. I don't usually ask for that, but I'm trying to see what more people like, what they want to see from me. So this YouTube channel is a way for me to show off what I've been working on. So if you like it, Please feel free to subscribe to my channel or just ask me for other videos and I'll be sure to add those. Thanks for watching.